Now on 18 News.
Nobody's winning, but I also frankly think the U.S. is losing even more than is.
A developing story, a trade war with China escalates. China hitting back hard. Get ready to pay more. And the Amazon rainforest continues to blaze. World leaders and environmentalists calling the inferno a global disaster. Plus, details about a standoff in the city of Elmira, what police are now saying.
Live from your local news leader, this is 18 News Today.
Good Saturday morning, Twin Tiers. I'm Alexis Bellamy. Today is August 24th.
I'm Austin Evans. Thank you for joining us for 18 News Today. I'm so excited.
I am too.
This weekend's weather.
Yes, that is such good news. I feel like we never hear that.
The heat has finally left us for now.
Okay.
And it's just going to be a really nice weekend. We've actually dipped down into the 40s this morning. This is our morning low, 47 degrees across in downtown Elmira at least. Calm winds. You can see some fog developing on the outskirts of downtown. However, our visibility sensors are not picking up on that fog, but there are some areas of patchy fog throughout the region, so just be mindful of that when driving out this morning. 46 in Spencer, 47 in Elmira and Corning, 48 in Tioga, PA. We're in the upper 40s, lower 50s for the most part across the region, and the radar is completely clear. There is nothing to talk about on radar with the exception of the wind farms that I love to point out in the northern tier. And over the next few hours, we're not going to warm up a whole lot. We're going to see a high in the low 70s today, and we're going to take our time getting there. Not going to see that temperature until this afternoon, and I'll have the details and how long this beautiful weather will last in my full forecast coming up in a little bit.
A roller coaster day on Wall Street and in Washington as the trade war escalates and markets tumble. We start this morning with a trade war. Stocks drop on Wall Street as China slaps retaliatory tariffs on $75 billion worth of U.S. goods. President Trump responded sharply. Camila Bernal has more on this developing story.
The U.S.-China trade war escalating even further Friday afternoon. In a series of tweets, President Trump announced that starting October 1st, $250 billion of goods and products from China currently being taxed at 25% will be taxed at 30%. Additionally, the remaining $300 billion of Chinese goods that was being taxed from September 1st at 10% will now be taxed at 15%. This comes after China announced new tariffs Friday morning on $75 billion worth of U.S. goods.
My reaction to this is when China reacts like this, what they simply do is strengthen the resolve of this president.
The Chinese tariffs came as retaliation to U.S. tariffs on imports worth $300 billion, fueling the ongoing trade war.
Frankly, nobody's winning, but I also frankly think the U.S. is losing even more than is China.
The Chinese tariffs will phase in. The first round, effective September 1st, includes a 10% tariff on goods like seafood, beef, chicken, wheat, soybeans, and steel. A 5% tariff will be imposed on cream, turkey, and chemicals. Then, on December 15, 10% tariffs will be imposed on goods like coffee, corn, motorcycles. And a 5% tariff will include whiskey, cigars, clothing, TVs, lights, automobile parts, and pens. China also plans to resume a 25% tariff on American cars.
This trade war and these tariffs are going to decrease economic growth.
In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
The Amazon rainforest is on fire, and world leaders, environmentalists, and people just around the globe are calling the inferno a global disaster. Major anti-government protests broke out on Friday in Sao Paulo and other cities as Brazilians call on the government to protect the Amazon. Under intercontinental pressure, Brazil's President Jair Bolsonaro said on Friday that he plans to deploy the army to tackle the wildfires raging in the Amazon rainforest. The Amazon is the largest tropical rainforest in the world and accounts for at least 10% of the planet's biodiversity. The rainforest also produces about 20% of the world's oxygen and is often called the planet's lungs. Brazil Space Research Center, INPE, said this week that the country has seen an 85% increase in fires this year, and more than half were in the Amazon region, spelling disaster for the local environment and ecology. We have the full coverage of these developing stories online at our website, mytwintiers.com, and be sure to download the 18 News app available for Android and iPhones. We've received official word on that heavy police presence that happened Friday morning on Baldwin Street, right near the Elm Chevrolet in Elmira. Police have arrested an Elmira man for illegally having a weapon and a controlled substance. Police confirming they responded to a report of gunshots. Once on scene, officers heard continued gunshots. Police surrounding a house on Baldwin Street. Eventually, a man exited the home and was taken into custody. Police then searched the home, finding 3 semi-automatic firearms and crack cocaine. A child was also removed from the home after SWAT entered. The street was reopened shortly before 11. On Friday, after a 30-year career in law enforcement, West Elmira Police Chief Pete Machaclo retired. Local police officers, firefighters, and sheriff deputies came together Friday afternoon to honor his time with the department during his walkout. Machaclo walked down a line of officers, friends, and family members as a long-honored tradition for those retiring with many years of servitude. Machaclo had some words of advice to share with his time as future chief.
Return all calls the same day. Don't leave here without calling somebody back. If they've called, call them back. And pick and choose your fights wisely. There won't be many. Treat the guys with respect, and they'll treat you with respect. And if he has any problems, he can always call me.
Machaclo isn't sure what is in his future, except that he is going to take some time now to unwind. Starting this weekend, the red flag bill will go into effect here in New York State. The new law will now allow law enforcement officials, district attorneys, school officials, and family members to request a confiscation of firearms from an individual who has been deemed a threat to themselves or to others. Governor Cuomo signed the measure back in February in an effort to prevent gun violence. The New York State Education Department has put out the results of the 2019 Language Arts and Mathematics test. While student scores are up from last year, less than 50% of those tested were proficient. Our Capitol correspondent Karina Capabianca breaks down those numbers.
The ELA and math assessments are taken by students across the state in grades 3 through 8. This year, 45.4% of students tested received a proficient ELA score, and 46.7% earned a proficient math score.
The major focus, I think, is that every school district is looking at how their students performed on the assessments that we just released and making determinations on what they can do to support teachers and their schools as they move forward.
Math scores are up 2.2 percentage points from last year, and ELA up 0.2 percentage points. ELA proficiency improved in Buffalo, Rochester, and Syracuse, but math proficiency scores dropped by 0.1 percentage points in Buffalo. Out of the big 5 city school districts, Rochester had the worst proficiency rates in both subjects. In Albany, Karina Capabianca.
The time is now 6 away and still to come on 18 News Today. It was all over a parking spot. A verdict has been handed down in the Florida case of the fatal shooting of an unarmed black man when we get back.
Our favorite furry friends will love this week's weather. Highs in the lower 70s expected. I'll let you know how long it will last in a little bit.
You're watching 18 News Today.
A woman accused in one of the largest ever corporate data breaches will remain in jail pending her trial. A Seattle federal judge made the ruling Friday in the case against Paige Thompson. Prosecutors say the former software engineer downloaded the personal information files of more than 100 million Capital One customers. Thompson's lawyers argued she should be moved from federal detention to a halfway house. They say because Thompson is transgender, she would have a difficult time coping in an all-male unit of the federal detention center. The judge, however, ruled it would be too risky to release her. Thompson's history of threats to herself and others were cited, as well as her alleged proficiency for hacking into computers. Thompson was arrested last month and is also accused of stealing data from several other companies. Michael Jajaka, a white Florida man, has been convicted of manslaughter for fatally shooting an unarmed black man in a dispute over a parking spot. A jury working late into the night in Florida has ruled that the deadly altercation over the parking spot was manslaughter. Jay Gray has the details on the high-profile case and what comes next.
You may be seated. The jury has reached a verdict.
After 3 days of evidence and testimony and about 6 hours of deliberations, a jury has ruled the death of Marquise McLaughlin, shot and killed by Michael Draka during an argument over a parking spot, was manslaughter. It happened almost a year ago outside of a Clearwater, Florida convenience store.
He was retreating.
Much of the trial and Friday's closing arguments focused on two videos. This surveillance tape from the scene, which shows the confrontation, and this recording of Draka's statement to police.
Was he charging after you? 2 steps running.
Firearm's not out yet. Everyone's moving backwards.
Prosecutors pointing out inconsistencies between what he says and what's seen on the surveillance video.
You cannot kill a retreating, unarmed man. That's not reasonable. No reasonable person would ever think that.
He never even seen Mr. McLaughlin coming.
The defense countering.
This is not a vigilante. This is a person who was viciously attacked and responded appropriately.
Again, pointing to the surveillance video, telling jurors the shooting was justified, self-defense.
He's standing there engaged in a legal conversation with someone, and he's suddenly on the ground. He pulls his firearm. He fires. The law says that that is excusable.
But the jury said there was no excuse for the use of deadly force. Sentencing is set for early October. Draka faces up to 30 years behind bars. Jay Gray, NBC News.
The time is now 6:14 and still to come on 18 News Today. Just because August is winding down doesn't mean there's a shortage of fun things to do in the Twin Tiers. There's a lot happening. Coming up, all the events going on this weekend that you won't want to miss.
August is winding down, and so are the temperatures. Walking out the door for Saturday plans, you can leave the umbrella. Highs today in the lower 70s. Sunny skies expected with some passing clouds. I'll let you know how long it will last after the break. Welcome back. After all the heat that we have experienced, it's about time we have a really nice, comfortable weekend. Slightly below average temperatures, and it's going to continue into next week. Right now, 47 degrees in Elmira. You can see some fog just on the outskirts of downtown. Calm conditions right now, and as I said, some fog in the area, and most of our sensors for visibility are not picking up on a lot of the fog because it is very patchy in nature. So just be mindful of that if you are driving out on the roadways this morning. If you come across some fog, keep your headlights on and just slow down a little bit. Temperatures across the region right now, we're in the lower 50s, upper 40s, 47 in Elmira, 46 in Spencer, 51 in Watkins Glen. We're starting to warm up into the 50s, but we are still nice and cool, and the nice weather this weekend is thanks to this high pressure system centered just north of Michigan. This lack of weather maker is going to keep us relatively cool for this time of year and dry through up until midweek, actually. And you can see radar right now is completely clear. Nothing to talk about on radar this morning. And with Futurecast, I will time it out now. Futurecast is putting some isolated showers in the region along with some upper level clouds. I do not think that these showers are going to affect us. Every other model is running completely dry with the exception of our in-house model. So do not let Futurecast put a damper on your beautiful weekend. And another reason why I disagree with Futurecast right now is these showers move east to west, which is possible, but it's kind of rare and unlikely. So don't let the isolated showers from Futurecast put a damper on your nice weekend. They might happen very, very sporadically, but I do not believe that they will happen. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. This is my kind of weather. High is 71 today, partly sunny and mainly dry. It's going to be cooler and it's going to be comfy. Tonight, dropping down into the upper 40s once again. Cool and clear with areas of fog just like this morning. And over the next 7 days, this is going to stay until around Tuesday when we could see some chances of showers and thunderstorms into Wednesday morning. We're going to have trouble reaching the 80s, but we could hit it later this week.
The Chemung County Historical Society will unveil its newest historical marker this weekend. The new marker will be in honor of John W. Jones. John Jones was a runaway slave who arrived in Elmira in 1844. His contributions to local history include burying and keeping records of Confederate soldiers during the Civil War at Woodlawn National Cemetery. The unveiling will take place today at 11 a.m. at the John W. Jones Museum here in Elmira. A weekend of history. It's the 240th anniversary of the Battle of Newtown. It's taking place all weekend long at the Newtown Battlefield State Park here in Chemung County. The Continental Army, British Crown Forces, and Indian warriors will all be there. You can check out this 18th century battle reenactment event when scores of reenactors will accurately portray live life during our country's Revolutionary War. The Rochester International Air Show is this weekend. We have a special walkthrough of the B-117G Memphis Belle, one of the many planes available to see at the show. Food trucks and adult beverages will be available for purchase. Attendees can watch 13 different performers soaring through the sky, including the Misty Blues, all-women skydiving team, and the Air Force Thunderbirds. Gates will be open from 9:30 a.m. until 6 p.m. today through Sunday, and tickets are available for purchase online and at the gate. But if you purchase them on their website, you can get $10 off of your ticket. The time is now 6:21 and still to come on 18 News Today. We review this week in the world of business. Welcome back. CNBC's Kelly Evans is going to take us inside the look at the past week in the world of business.
The trade war escalates, retail earnings impress, and Peppa Pig and friends sell for billions, all in the week that was. Major moves in the trade war between the U.S. and China. President Trump ordering U.S. companies to look for alternatives to doing business in China. It's unclear how he might enforce this order. Earlier on Friday, China said it would raise tariffs on another $75 billion worth of U.S. imports starting in September. This in response to U.S. threats to raise tariffs on goods from China. Meanwhile, U.S. consumers continue to drive strong sales and profits at many of the nation's retailers. Target, Lowe's, and Home Depot all saw big stock gains following their earnings reports during the week. And finally, Peppa Pig has a new biggest fan. Hasbro is paying $4 billion for Entertainment One, the company that owns the Peppa Pig character. Hasbro also gets a media company that can help turn out shows and movies based on its toys. I'm Kelly Evans. Get all your business news on CNBC.
Clear and sunny. Foggy in some areas this morning, so be mindful of that when out and about. It's a perfect day for the Eldridge Park Classic Car Show this afternoon, the final one of the year. Highs in the low 70s, sunny skies all day, and I'll give you one last look at the 7-day forecast after the break.
You're watching 18 News Today.
Welcome back. Austin is going to give us one final look at the beautiful weather that we have in store, luckily for us.
We are in store for a beautiful weekend, and after all the heat that we've had, I'm really excited for it. High of 71 today. It's going to be sunny today, tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday, but clouds are going to be increasing Tuesday with some chances of rain in the afternoon. But we won't talk about that. Going into midweek, we do have some showers and thunderstorms with the passing of a cold front. But we're going to have trouble hitting the 80s essentially for the rest of summer. So
the 80s sounds absolutely amazing. I'm so excited to get into this. Like, I haven't heard it's going to be the 80s like in weeks. It feels like it's just always dreary and cloudy and overcast, which just makes me so sad.
Personally, I'm ready for winter.
Oh, Austin. The time is now 6:27, and still to come on 18 News Today, a new broadcast series premiere happening only here on 18 News on the rich history of the city of Elmira. You won't want to miss the big show opener.
Now on 18 News.
Are you going to the state fair? Of course you are. Well, while you're there, don't miss out on your chance to get a real ID. We'll tell you more. And some news coming from Joe Cavalario Band after their Live After 5 performance last night. What the band wants to say to the community. Plus, a premiere event is a new weekend series broadcast that you can only witness here on WETM. More coming up.
Live from your local news leader, this is 18 News Today.
Good Saturday morning, Twin Tiers. I'm Alexis Bellamy. Today is August 24th.
I'm Austin Evans. Thank you for joining us for 18 News Today. I'm so excited.
I'm excited for the great weekend too. We never get this.
It's going to be nice and cool.
We deserve it.
Relatively speaking, compared to the past couple weeks. 47 degrees right now in Elmira. It's a nice low for our morning. Calm winds. You can see some fog just on the outskirts of downtown, and our visibility sensors are not. It's patchy fog, so they're saying the visibility is okay, with the exception of Spencer is at 2 miles, 6 miles down in Wellsboro. So if you're caught out in the patchy fog driving out on the roadways this morning, just be mindful of that. Keep your headlights on and just slow down a little bit. 46 in Spencer, 47 in Elmira, 51 in Watkins Glen. We're in the upper 40s, lower 50s across the region, and we're not going to warm up a whole lot today. We're clear on the radar, and over the next few hours, we're going to take our time getting to the high temperature today. We're going to be in the lower 70s, and I'll give you the details in my full forecast coming up in just a little bit.
If you are going to the New York State Fair, you can make a productive stop by applying for a Real ID or enhanced driver's license at the DMV's mobile office in the Center of Progress. This is important because Real ID identification will be required to board a plane and fly within the U.S. starting October 1st of 2020. So why not make the switch now? The service will be available all day and throughout the fair. A few people left the New York State Fair yesterday as American citizens for the very first time. To honor New Americans Day, nearly 100 immigrants were sworn in during a naturalization ceremony on the state fairgrounds. The state fair has held the ceremony for 5 years, each one carrying a lasting impact.
I have lived my entire life in Central New York. I have moved from place to place, and I thought that was traumatic. But I look out and see you guys, and you have made decisions to go, in some cases, halfway around the world and start over. I don't know how you did it.
America gave me the best education that I didn't dream I would have. It gave me opportunities as a woman that I didn't think I would really get fair chance back at home. So for her, the sky is the limit. More opportunities for her, more chances that
Congressman Katiko was also at the ceremony to congratulate the new U.S. citizens. The fair runs until September 2nd, and head to mytwintiers.com for all the information you need about the fair. An 18-year-old local sex offender is arrested by the Chemung County Sheriff's Office for failing to register his new address. Michael Franco of the town of Chemung failed to notify the Division of Criminal Justice Services of his address change, an offense in violation of the New York State Corrections law. Franco is a level 1 sex offender. He was arrested and arraigned in the town of Chemung court, where he was sent to the county jail. Last night during a Live After 5, the Joe Cavalario Band were featured and they announced some news to their audience. After nearly 40 years, the band is planning to retire. They began their career at Bernie Murray's back in 1982. After the band's original leader, Joe Cavalario, passed away in 2015, Brad Chamberlain took over and has continued to keep it going.
Getting to a point now that we're all getting older. The Dixieland swing is kind of sliding out to the rock, which is understandable. But we feel this is time for us to kind of slide out. So.
The band does have a few more gigs lined up, including the Arctic League, before they retire at the end of the year. What you are about to see is the first episode of Hidden Landmarks. This new web broadcast series is hosted by area realtor J.D. Isles. Hidden Landmarks takes viewers through so much of Elmira's rich history. This premiere broadcast is profiling a former amusement park, Rorick's Glen, on the southern banks of the Chemung River, and it looks to be pretty special. All right, Twin Tiers, let's take a look.
This is the original entrance to Rorick's Glen Amusement Park, which is the lost amusement park in Elmira, New York. My name's J.D. Isles, and this is Quick History with Hidden Landmarks. We are right on the edge of West Water Street right now, and I know a lot of you in Elmira have driven past these pillars at one time or another. But what exactly are they? One of the big clues to the identity of these pillars is the fact that they're actually 25 feet apart. 25 feet apart. That's pretty wide for a driveway, but it's not pretty wide for a trolley. Back at the turn of the century, around 1900, 1910, families used to get packed up, go pick up the trolley in downtown Elmira, and ride the trolley all the way down to here, and then to the water's edge, because right on the edge of the Chemung River, where Elmira's amusement park on the banks of the Chemung River used to stand, right there in Southport. And they rode the trolley to here, to the edge of the Chemung River, where they would get dropped off, and they would walk across a wooden bridge to Rorick's Glen Amusement Park. Now, these bridge pilings are from a later bridge, but back at the turn of the last century, 1901, Rorick's Glen was really the place to go and be seen in both West Elmira and Southport, and there was a lot to do. There was the Rorick's Glen Theater, which was the summer home of the Manhattan Opera Company. It seated between 1,200 and 2,000 people, and it was extremely high-tech for the time. They actually had the ability to make it either rain or snow on stage. There was the dance hall, which was used up through the 40s, and there was even a restaurant. Rorick's Glen was really known for its gardens, and back in those days they were electric gardens. The gardens would have been lit up at night, and this is really a time when electricity was a new invention and electric lights were high tech, so it would have looked fantastic. In fact, the entire amusement park was lit up with electric lights at night. And it's all gone. It operated from 1901 to 1917. The amusement park eventually fizzled out. It was a perfect storm between World War I and the Great Depression. The park took a heavy hit back in the 46 flood, and then the 72 flood, of course, and there's really not a trace of it left. And that's a shame, because it would be amazing to be able to stand here either during the day or at night and hear music coming from the Opera House and look across and see all those families enjoying themselves at an amusement park in Southport.
Remember to head to mytwintiers.com for the first episode of Hidden Landmarks. So much to learn, just so interesting to see. Rorick's Glen was that first episode, so be sure to download the 18 News app, available for Android and iPhones. The time is now 6:39, and still to come on 18 News today, a Connecticut man charged with manslaughter in Anguilla, the ongoing by-country case that's garnered national attention.
If the yard needs some attention, you have several really nice days to do it. Temperatures in the low 70s today, and they stay in the 70s through Tuesday. Sunny skies through Monday with a chance of showers on Tuesday. More news and weather after the break.
You're watching 18 News Today.
The notorious RBG has apparently tackled her fourth bout with cancer. Friday, the Supreme Court revealed Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg received 3 weeks of radiation therapy for pancreatic cancer earlier this month. Doctors found a tumor on her pancreas after a routine blood test in early July. A biopsy confirmed the tumor was malignant. According to the Supreme Court, the tumor was treated definitively and there is no evidence of disease elsewhere in the body. They say Ginsburg does not require any more treatment at this time. A man was crushed to death by a malfunctioning elevator at a New York City luxury high-rise rental building. The freak accident happened Thursday morning at a building called Manhattan Promenade. According to authorities, the victim was exiting the elevator at the lobby level when the car suddenly dropped towards the basement, causing the victim to become trapped between the elevator car and shaft. The victim, 30-year-old man, was believed to be a resident of the building. He was pronounced dead at the scene by the city medical examiner. An American investment banker accused of killing a hotel worker during a vacation getaway in the Caribbean is back in the U.S. after a brief court appearance in Anguilla. Scott Hapgood is due back in court for manslaughter charges next month. NBC's Morgan Chesky has the latest from Anguilla.
Mr. Hapgood, how does it feel to be in Anguilla today?
This morning, a Connecticut investment banker charged with killing a hotel employee here in Anguilla insists he's eager for his day in court.
We all want the same thing, justice. For me, that means proving my innocence.
Scott Hapgood facing cameras for the first time since returning to the island, reading a statement following his brief court hearing.
All we want is to present the evidence that conclusively proves my innocence.
The 44-year-old was charged with manslaughter in April in the death of Kenny Mitchell. Hapgood says the 27-year-old employee showed up at his hotel room unannounced, saying he'd come to fix a broken sink, and that once inside, Mitchell tried to rob him at knife point. Hapgood says Mitchell stabbed and bit him, and he fought back in self-defense to protect his 2 young daughters, who he then sent for help.
Self-defense is self-defense, but self-defense too far leads to a death.
Jishan Clark, one of the first hotel workers to respond, describes what he saw when he rushed to the room.
So Mr. Hapgood left forearm was across Kenny's neck, chin area this way, and Mr. Hapgood held Kenny right hand across his body like this.
The death certificate shows Mitchell died of positional asphyxia or suffocation. A newly released toxicology report shows Mitchell had cocaine, marijuana, and alcohol in his system. His brother telling reporters he has nothing to say to Hapgood.
I just wish him good luck. There's one thing, I wish him good luck with his life.
Hapgood acknowledging he'd be angry too if he believed all the false rumors spread about the case, but insists they're simply not true.
The stories you've read and heard are not what happened, and someday I will be able to tell the real story in a legal setting. The sooner that day comes, the better.
And we've learned the next court appearance for Hapgood is currently set for September 9th. His legal team says he'll definitely fly back to Anguilla for that, and it should last 5 days in court. Meanwhile, there's still plenty of people here on the island who say he shouldn't have been granted bail in the first place and should never have been allowed to go back to the U.S. Back to you guys.
The time is now 6:45, and still to come on 18 News. Is recommending pet owners to keep their fur babies out of the water. I'll tell you why coming up.
The Muggy Meter is finally getting a break from saying humid all the time. Comfy for the next several days. We creep back into Muggy Tuesday, but then a cold front brings us back down. I'll let you know the details after the break. It's been so hot for so long, we finally get a break from all the heat. It's going to be a beautiful weekend this weekend, cool and comfy, slightly below average temperatures, and these temperatures are going to continue into next week. 47 degrees right now in Elmira, calm conditions. You can see some fog on the outskirts of downtown, so just be mindful of that if you come across any patchy fog. And national temperatures, anything east of the Mississippi, we've been really hot over the last several weeks. We're finally going to get a break from all that heat if you live east of the Mississippi. Now, the Central Plains out to the west are going to continue getting the same heat that they have been getting over the last week or so. 46 in Spencer, 47 in Elmira, like I said, 51 in Watkins Glen. We're in the upper 40s, lower 50s, and we're not going to get out of those temperatures in a hurry this morning. Thank you to that high pressure system that is just north, centered just north of Michigan, that is bringing the lack of weather for the next several days, keeping our temperatures in the lower 70s for highs. And you can see clear radar, and that's the way it's going to stay throughout today, into tomorrow, and actually into Tuesday as well. Clear skies today right around noon. Now, Futurecast is putting some isolated showers on our area this afternoon. I do not put a lot of merit into these isolated showers. All the rest of the models we're tracking dry. So these isolated showers this weekend are, in my opinion, not going to happen. These actually track east to west, so don't let Futurecast put a damper on your beautiful weekend. Get out and enjoy it. It's going to be a really nice weekend going into actually Monday. High of 71 today, partly sunny, mainly dry, cooler and comfy today. It's going to be a beautiful one, sunny skies with very nice temperatures, dropping down into the upper 40s just like this morning tonight. Cool and clear with areas of patchy fog, and over the next 7 days we're going to see this trend continues into Tuesday. Clouds increasing Tuesday though, with some chances of showers that evening. Wednesday, high of 79 with chances of showers and thunderstorms, and into Thursday, high of 80. We're going to have trouble hitting that 80-degree mark for the foreseeable future. Here's Chuck with sports.
It's an exciting time, the start of the high school football season in Pennsylvania. Let's start in Towanda with the Black Knights hosting Canton. The Warriors had a big year last year and made it to the district finals. Towanda hosting Canton on opening night. Canton up 14-0 in the second and looking to add to it. Carson Steiner on the carry, and Steiner takes it all the way down to the 1-yard line on the very next play. Steiner gets the carry again and punches it in from a yard out. The Warriors take a 21-0 lead. Towanda trying to come back. Tanner Kunkel back to pass, and he goes deep and complete to Haven Benjamin Fee. He takes it down inside the Canton 10-yard line. That sets up Kunkel going 9 yards over the middle to Trent Kithcart for the touchdown. It's Canton that gets the win, 40-6. To Island Park, North Penn Mansfield hosting Montoursville. North Penn Mansfield was down big in the third, and on the first drive of the second half, they get a field goal by Kevin Alexander to make it 42-10. We jump ahead now to the fourth, and it's Colton Litzelman finding Brandon Thompson through the air for the touchdown for the Panthers, cutting the score to 42-17. On the other end of the field, late in the fourth, it's the fullback Heath Jones finding the end zone for Montoursville. Montoursville goes on to get the win by a score of 49-17. Wellsboro opening up the season at home against Cowanesque Valley. Wellsboro starts off the game quickly as quarterback Isaac Keene finds Zach Singer in the back of the end zone, and Singer's able to get his feet down, making the score 7-0 Green Hornets. Wellsboro wasn't done yet. Here's a huge gap made by the offensive line and a strong run up the middle by Aiden Hauser for another 6, and Wellsboro continued to score through the air as Keene finds Logan Henry, making it 21-0. Wellsboro goes on to win this one big by a score of 53-6. To the scoreboard, Athens falls on the road to Hanover 31-21, and Wyalusing wins big at home over Montrose 34-6. Week 1 continues today as Sayre hosts Bucktail at 1 p.m. and Troy is in action at home against Bald Eagle at 5 p.m. You can check out all of our high school football highlights, stories, and team previews on Twin Tiers Touchdown. Just head to our website, mytwintiers.com/sports, and click on Twin Tiers Touchdown. Twin Tiers Touchdown, your local headquarters for high school football in the Twin Tiers all season long. And that'll do it for a look at sports this morning. For 18 Sports, I'm Chuck Brain.
A health alert this morning. The Schuyler County Humane Society is recommending pet owners to keep your pets out of lakes due to possible toxic algae blooms. Harmful algae blooms have been emerging in stagnant water during the summer and have led to health problems for humans and animals. The DEC says to avoid contact with any floating mats, scum, or discolored water, and that their colors can vary from shades of green, blue-green, yellow, brown, or red. If you can come in contact with algae blooms, the DEC recommends rinsing with clean water and to seek medical attention if needed.
Temperatures today in the lower 70s for highs. A beautiful weekend ahead with sunny skies, some passing clouds. And I'll give you one last look at the coming week after the break.
You're watching 18 News Today.
Welcome back, Twin Tiers. And just a concern for breakfast eaters. If you're waffling on what to eat today, no need. Yeah, you like that, waffling? Because today is National Waffle Day. So bust out the maple syrup or whatever it is you like to drizzle over your waffles. Some people like honey or flavored syrups, but whatever it is, put it on your waffles because today is the day. All kinds of waffles. Today marks the anniversary of the first U.S. patent for a waffle iron. And I love waffles. My family, we do waffles big on Sunday mornings, get the Belgian waffle maker out. Are you a waffle person?
I like waffles a lot. I have a Belgian waffle maker. I don't think the girlfriend would have appreciated me making waffles at 1:30 this morning, but you know, waffles are
There's
good.
never a bad time to have waffles. And you're in, like I said, you're right. It's National Waffle Day. And as we can see, some of these are from, like, you know, the infamous house of chicken and waffles, but I don't think we have anything like that around here. But unfortunately, but if you do participate in National Waffle Day, you can post your waffle meals to the social media hashtag National Waffle Day. maybe even eat your nice waffles outside. Isn't that right, Austin? Because we do have a good day for it.
You could. It's going to be a good weekend for waffles if you want to push into Sunday. It's very foggy on the weather cam right now. I love how the fogs roll off these hills. So just be mindful of that if you are driving out for Saturday morning plans. Beautiful weekend otherwise going into next week. I'm not even going to talk about Wednesday and Thursday. If you want to read it, there it is. Chances of showers like it has been for so long. But it's going to be a beautiful weekend. High of 75 tomorrow, 76 on Monday. We're going to have trouble hitting the 80s for the foreseeable future. So Thursday, high of 80, but we might not see it very much after that.
I really felt that when you said you're not even going to talk about Wednesday or Thursday and just let you guys just read it. I don't even want to talk about the rain and the weather. I felt that in my soul. That's how much I don't like the rain.
I want to focus on
too.
the nice weekend.
I agree. Thank you for joining us for WETM 18 News Today.
And today's show is next. Have a good one.